Mike Owens with Inside Fighting here, joined today by Gaston Bolanos, who returns to action next Saturday night, UFC Fight Night. Gaston, great to sit down and chat for the first time. How are things with you today?
Hey Mike, how's it going, man? Thank you for having me.
How are your emotions ahead of your return, first and foremost?
I'm excited, man. I'm happy to get back in the cage. It's been a little while. It's been a little bit of a layoff since my last fight in January, but we've been working. I've been working really hard with my coaches and my team. And I'm excited to get back in there, man. Yeah.
Was there a particular reason why we haven't seen you since the last fight? Was it just recovery from injuries or just
Uh,
struggling to get a matchup?
just recovery. Just recovery, and I just been waiting for a matchup. I was supposed to have a different matchup before this matchup came through, but uh, things kind of changed and went a different way. But yeah, November 9th, Cortavious Romius. That's the fight, and couldn't be more excited for it, man.
Was the plan to always fight on this date, regardless of the opponent, or was the other opponents on a
We
different date?
knew the return will be later in the year. I mean, we've been waiting since kind of October to for
Mm.
something. We've been staying ready, just in case something came in. But yeah, we knew we will fight at least one more time before the year ended, and that was always the goal. So yeah.
I know that you're still very early, very young in your UFC career, but how do you
hmm
feel about returning to fighting the Apex? Some fighters hate it, some fighters don't mind it because it's convenient,
You
especially if you're
know,
a Vegas resident.
given my last fight, I'm excited that I get another opportunity to fight at the Apex. I
Mm,
definitely wanna get back in there and show the kind of skill that I have this time around, and I'm looking forward to that.
100%.
So yeah, I mean, I love the crowd. Since my early in my career, I've always fought in front of big crowds. I made my debut at the SAP Center with I think over 12,000 people with Bellator. And, I've always been used to those big crowds since. So that Apex show, if anything, in the beginning was kind of, it was not that I haven't fought in small crowds. I fought a lot, especially
Mm,
throughout my Muay Thai career and my MMA career, but it just felt a little bit different. So like I said, I'm excited that I get to experience that again.
mm. Well, let's talk about the matchup, Cortavious Romious.
hmm
First and foremost, this
hmm
might be pound for pound the best matchup in terms of two guys' birth names. Gaston Bolanos
Yes.
versus Cortavious Romious. What a fantastic name that is. But give me your
Right.
overall assessment on your next opponent, what you think he does
Yeah,
well.
he got his contract through Dana with Dana White Contender Series. I watch a couple of his fights and I watch some of his LFA stuff. He's a I respect anybody that's willing to get in there in the octagon, and he's definitely brings some good attributes to what we're to the fight, and it's going to be an exciting matchup. I'm really looking forward to it.
When you look at his skill set compared to yours, what do you look at as the potential areas that you can exploit?
I know he's explosive, aggressive. I know he's going to come in hard in the first round, and we expect that. We know that he's gonna wanna take things different. I know he likes to grapple, and we're expecting that. We're not trying to be surprised. We're not trying to get surprised in anything in any situation. And yeah, we're coming in. We're coming in to put in the pace.
I think in terms of your records, he might actually have one or two more fights than you. But as you mentioned a couple of
hmm
minutes ago, your experience, especially on the big show, you a lot of big sold out arenas in Bellator, and then obviously in your early UFC career. I feel like despite having less fights, you might actually have more experience in the cage, if that
Yeah,
kind
I
of makes
mean,
sense.
I've been not only in the cage, but I've been fighting basically my whole life. I've always been, since I was 10 years old. I made my debut
Well,
in amateurs when I was like 11 years old. Took a little bit of a break. My family moved out here, and then like I haven't stopped since 16 years old. So fighting's what I know, is what I do, is what I love to do, is what gets me up every single day in the morning. And like I said, I'm excited to get back to the big show and show my skill out there.
what was
We'll be back to the video in just a second, but first, the summer is unfortunately over. The weather is getting colder, but the action just keeps getting hotter, and the NBA season is finally back. And Inside Fighting is happy to announce that we have once again partnered up with our friends over at DraftKings to bring you guys another amazing offer. Where right now, if you're a new DraftKings customer, go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, bet $5, and you'll receive $200 of bonus bets instantly by using our promo code Inside Fighting when you sign up. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, do not worry. Just go play DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports. Get in on the action there. Again, New DraftKings customers who bet $5 will receive $200 of bonus bets instantly just by using promo code INSIDEFIGHTING only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
What was your record, for those who don't know? Well, I don't actually know, but for those who don't know, what was your record in Muay Thai or kickboxing?
The records don't really matter, but I
Of
had
course.
roughly about 50 fights. Most of them were wins, most of them were knockouts. I had I believe right as I turned, I had a long pro Muay Thai career as well with Lion Fight, but my record when I did the transition, I think I had like 85 or 86% KOs or something like that, or finishes. And so yeah, I've had quite a bit of fights. I've had like 50 plus fights, if I could say.
So presuming that your base is obviously in the striking department, and I like to ask fighters,
Yeah.
what do they feel is their unique selling point? What is it they feel like they do better than
hmm
anybody else
hmm
in their division? So can I ask you, what
I'm
do you feel
definitely
like you do?
I'm definitely a striker. Yeah, I think you know that. I think everybody that watches me knows that. But I've been spending a lot of time, uh, becoming a much more well-rounded MMA fighter, and I think that's the kind of fight that I'm going to bring. I'm prepared for this fight to go anywhere. I know it can go anywhere, and that's what we're expecting. We expect a hard 15-minute fight. And that's
Mhm.
what that's what we're coming for.
If we say your striking is at level 100, 100%, where would you rate your grappling in relation to that?
I'm getting right there, man. Like obviously I've been striking for a lot longer. I'm much more comfortable in it, but
Mm.
the more I've been grappling and the people that I have surrounding me, Danny Castillo, Team Alpha Male. I've also trained with the guys at American Kickboxing Academy. I've been doing my jiu-jitsu with Adam Piccolotti and Benji Silva, two great and phenomenal black belts. So I've been spending a lot of time. I've also been spending some time with Gilbert Melendez and those guys, cross training. I've cross trained with a lot of people, and I'm excited. I feel like I've improved so much more in my grappling, and I feel like it's starting to become actual a weapon of mine. So I'm
100%.
excited to get in there and go out there and like show the complete package.
I can remember the kind of hype or the excitement when it was announced that you were joining the UFC. Obviously, you're
hmm
only a couple of
hmm
fights in, so very early in your career, one win and one loss. How do you assess your early UFC run so far?
My debut was exciting. It was new. It was like this shiny new toy.
Mm.
Then coming into the Apex, I had a tough matchup against my last fight.
Mm.
It was a tough fight. It was a good fight, and then yeah, we've made some adjustments since. This is it's a game of inches. You cannot make mistakes in there, and we made some mistakes on that last one. We're coming in to rectify those mistakes and keep pushing, man. I'm excited. Like I said, I feel blessed that I get to be part of such a big organization. Like years ago, I was dreaming of this moment, and now I'm here. So I'm just enjoying every second as much as I can. And I'm excited to get back in the cage, man.
Obviously, you don't want to give too much away, but can I ask, what were some of the changes that you made from the last fight that you've implemented into this camp?
There's been a lot. There's been a lot. There's been a lot. Not just with my striking, but with my grappling and linking things together. Uh, and also like my last fight, I had some problems with my not with my coaching, but there were some visa issues. I had to do my camp somewhere else. No excuses.
Mm.
My opponent was better than me that night, but like I said, I believe I have everything now to come out victorious on November 9th.
Mm.
So that's what we're going for.
I love it. As I mentioned earlier, you had such first of all, you were very early in UFC in your career to start fighting in a big
hmm
organization like Bellator,
hmm
and there's a lot
hmm
made when people transfer from a Bellator or a PFL into the UFC about the level of
Right,
competition. So I know you're only a
right.
couple of fights in, but have you felt an increase in competition in your early UFC
Oh
career? Do you
yeah,
know
I
what you
mean
mean?
the UFC is the NFL of MMA. It's the highest of the highest, and
Mm.
everybody that you face in there deserves to be there. So yeah, the competition is you're fighting the best in the world, and I believe that. And what if you're doing this? If you're as long as I've been doing it, what else would I want for my life other than be fighting the best people in the world? So it's exciting. It's if anything like. It gives me the chills. It gets me moving. It gets me up every day, like I said. And yeah, I'm blessed to be in the position that I'm in. and I'm excited to go out there November 9th and show who I am.
I couldn't get you on with knowing what your history as having one of the greatest spinning elbow or spinning knockouts in history
Yeah,
to talk
yeah.
about that. But it felt quite poetic
Mhm.
after watching Shara Bullet's KO on Saturday night with the double spinning back fist. So just your reaction to that. And
To be honest with you, because the card was earlier on last Saturday. I literally
mm,
just I watched. Obviously, I knew who won. I knew who
mm,
lost. But I just caught up with it this morning. I woke up very early today,
mm.
and I was watching the whole card. And man, that was a great card. That was a yeah that double spinning back fist was great, man. And if you look at like what led to that, he was doing some amazing kick games. He was doing some amazing probe game. He was bringing him in nonstop. And then when he found that shot, it was really good. You know, it was a wow, like that was a great knockout.
What would you say comes to mind as the greatest spinning KO of all time? I'll allow kicks, elbows, back fists. What do you think is the best spinning knockout of all time?
Man, there's been some really nasty ones.
Mm.
Uh the one that Buckley landed on Impa, that
Ooh,
was kind of crazy.
yeah.
Then I forget if it was Bellator or PFL, that spinning back kick that crushed the guy's ribs.
Oh,
That was crazy. That was
Koreshkov.
crazy. Koreshkov, yeah, that was a crazy one too. Like I've never seen anything like it happen before.
Mm.
But I mean, there's been so much, you know, but my favorite of all time, I don't know, man. I don't think I have a favorite, you know. It's like music. Like you
Of
can't just
course.
like there's so much to appreciate in every knockout, and not only like to being in the sport and knowing what it takes, you know, and knowing everything that you have to put yourself through every day and seeing people go out there and do things like that. It's amazing. You know, it's
Mm.
amazing because we face so much adversity every single day. We have so much that we have to get done. We I believe that we're the best athletes in the world. You know, there's so much that we have to do and
Mm.
accomplish. So yeah, just to go out there and see people do things like that, it's amazing.
100%. I would also like to get your thoughts on the main event of UFC 308. I know you said you've just had a chance to watch the card this morning, but
I
massive
I
fight
knew
between
Ilya.
Ilia Topuria.
It was a great fight, man. I like Ilya's approach overall. I
Mm.
like how he walked him into that cross at the end. I think Holloway was really pending on that hook. He was like
Mm.
really watching for that hook and trying to get away from it. And then Ilya just kind of like got him in there and
Mm.
did it too. But you know, like the second round was that I like how Holloway came back on every at the end of every single round and was kind of like I like what he was doing with that side leg to the bottom,
Mm.
using a little more of his kicks. Uh, I think a little bit of more movement would have probably been better, but I feel like in the third, that's when Ilya was started to really sit down on punches, and that was a spectacular knockout. I mean, this guy has knocked out Volkanovski and Max Holloway, who's never been knocked out back to back. You know, he's definitely one of the best featherweights of all time.
Ilya keeps saying that he's leveled up the game, that he's the next generation of the sport. I think he's the
Mm-hmm.
only champion in
Mm-hmm.
the UFC under 30. So can I ask from your perspective, are you seeing things that he's doing differently or as a kind of next generation, or do you think that's just building the fights and part of the hype piece?
Well, I mean, the next generation, I think like we come from not now, but MMA, old MMA, it will be it was different, you know, it was some guys were good at some things, some guys were good at
Yeah.
other things. Now you have to be good at everything. You have to be well rounded. You
Mm.
have to that is the new wave of MMA. You know,
Mm.
like we talk about fight like one of my favorite fights of like new wave MMA that I can think of. What's when Volk and Islam fought.
Mm.
Not the second time, but the first time. That
For sure.
was like that was just a crazy back and forth, striking, wrestling, jujitsu,
Mm.
defense, offense, great cardio for 5 rounds. Like that's the new wave of MMA. And yeah, Ilya is definitely part of that. But yeah, I think that's what that new wave is, you know, becoming a full well-rounded athlete, and just having all the tools, you know, so that when you get in there, you know, you just work
Mm.
and
100%.
perform.
Well, turning the
Hmm.
conversation back to yourself for my final question, you can be as brief or as
Uh-huh.
detailed as you like with this one. But as you envisage fight day on the 9th of November, give me a walkthrough
Mhm.
of your perfect day. So when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night, talk me through what a
Uh-huh.
perfect day looks like.
Perfect day. Wake up, uh, have breakfast with my team, happy. Lots of food. We just make weight, so we're just hydrating and
Mm.
eating and sharing some good thoughts. Obviously, the Lord is always present and on my table, and so that's something that we, have a very strong faith in my team and everything that we're doing. So, um, then a good shakeout, a good proper shakeout, not too long, not too short, but just enough to get the juices flowing and everything. And I think it's an earlier card, so I'm probably gonna have to show up a little bit earlier, you know, get in there, fight hard, get that W, hopefully get a bonus, and then that night, celebrate with my team and it's gonna be amazing, man. I'm really, like I said, I'm really excited for that. And it's not just about winning or losing, but it's just about going out there and performing. And that's what I'm looking forward to the most. A good hard fight.
I love it. Well, Gaston, thank you so
Mhm.
much for your time. Great to sit down and chat today. Have a
Thanks,
great
Mike.
and safe
Appreciate
rest
it,
of
man.
have a great and safe rest of camp. And if I don't speak before, best of luck for the fight.
Thank you so much, man. And thank you for having me.